Okay, you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what is your full name?
Well, Elwood Leslie Titus.
And who were your parents?
Well, Leslie Titus was my father, and my mother was a woodman, Mabel Woodman.
Do you remember what your mother's parents' names were?
Mm-hmm. I guess I would. Oh, John Woodman, and my grandmother was a Bell. That's on my mother's side. Mary, her name was.
And where were they from?
Jogging Bridge,
Okay.
Smith Cove, or right there where you.
Yep.
On that road to go into Smith Cove. I kinked my leg.
And how about your grandparents on your father's side?
Well, my grandfather was born on the old road. And my grandmother was an Irish woman. She was a Darcy.
Okay.
Excuse me one second. If you're not watching the television, do you suppose we could turn it off?
Yeah.
No problem? Okay.
No,
Just
no.
background noise. Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, right, Stella.
Mm.
Okay, what year were you born?
1917,
And
September
September
26.
what? I'm
26.
collecting these dates.
26th of September I was born.
And where were you born?
Right here.
In this house?
Yep.
Who delivered you?
Hmm.
Who delivered you?
Oh boy. Oh, that would be way back. I don't know what doctor it was. The only old doctor I can remember was Dr. Ice.
Yep.
Whether he was right here there at that time, I don't know.
I don't know either. How large was your family? How many brothers and sisters?
Let's see, I had 2 sisters and, oh boy, 7 brothers. 2 died babies, brothers.
Can you run through their names?
Hmm?
Can you run through their names?
The oldest brother's name was Truman. And the oldest sister was Effie. And the next one was Madeline. And then there's one died between me and Madeline. His name was Charles. He was a month old or something like that. Then I come along and I had another brother, his name was Douglas. He only lived to be a day old. He died. And then after that, it was Harold, and Glendon, and Carl. Carlson was his name. I guess that was it all.
What about, okay. What did your father do for a living?
Well, he was done everything, I guess. He was a fisherman. He was a carpenter. He repaired boats, worked on boats, repairing boats. And he used to do mechanical work. We had a small mill here once, sawing lobster traps. The building's gone now, it was right there.
That's the only thing it milled was laths for lobster
Yeah.
traps?
Yeah. All the stuff that you need it for lobster traps.
Yeah. What can you remember about your mother's typical day, a typical day for your mother?
Well, she brought us all up, and she put a bag of flour through a oven every 10 days. 100-pound bag of flour.
100-pound. I was going to say 50.
No, 100-pound bag.
Did she make bread every single day?
Just about. She used to make something, she used to put everything in it. It was kind of a brown bread like.
Mm-hmm.
And the loaf was not feed Darby. And everything she done was by hand, washing. Plus looking after us brats.
Can you remember when she made the bread? Did she start it the night before?
Seems to
With a
me
sponge or something?
she used to make what would you call it? With yeast cakes.
Yes.
Whole wheat bread?
Hmm?
Whole wheat? Brown
Well, it was,
bread?
but she always used them old-fashioned yeast cakes.
Yep.
Oh, square ones.
And you had to make a sponge, I guess.
Yes.
And of course, I wasn't much of a cook, but I could eat what was cooked.
Did anybody else live in your house besides your parents and you children? None of the grandparents lived here.
No, my sister lived here for a while, the other part.
Yeah.
And Carl lived here for a while in the other part there when he got crippled up. And he he couldn't fish anymore, so he started the store, and then he built the house across the road there.
How did Carl get crippled up? Did he get injured or he just...
Well, I don't know, it was arthritis or what. After he come out of the army, he got crippled up. He kind of got hurt in the army training, and that could have started it. And we always thought that he had arthritis, but we always thought he had muscular dystrophy.
Oh, yeah?
Something.
Muscular dystrophy, yeah.
Because it twisted him all up.
Yeah. And he was younger than you.
He was the youngest one.
He was the youngest, yeah. So was there anybody around to help your mother with any of the chores, like minding the kids or assist her in any way, or she had to do it all?
Well, the sister, when she was home,
Because she was older.
yeah. She was older than I was, the
Yeah.
sisters. And, she used to do that, and she used to even work on the fish flakes.
Yep. Your mother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get down in the morning, spread them out, get down at night and pile them in little piles the way they done it.
Was that working for your own family or
No,
working
that's-
for
The fish company.
fish company? Was that
Was
Sean Gidney then?
No,
No?
no, it was Lunenburg Sea Products, and
Okay.
once from down Lunenburg. They bought it from, I don't know who, Charlie Morton, or after Bootler failed up.
Okay.
It changed hands 2-3 times.
Yep. Well, were many other women working
Oh
on the
yeah,
fish flakes?
oh yeah.
Yes.
All women around her age,
Yep.
they worked on the fish flakes.
That wasn't a full-time job though.
Just summertime.
Yep.
The flakes used to be where Keith Raymond's house is now.
Old Keith.
Yeah,
Yep.
down the road there.
Yep.
And then there was another company bought fish, Ern Raymond and them. They had fish flakes, right behind the, well, it was a freezer on top of Shore Hill there. In there, right across the road from the Raymonds there.
So what company was that?
That would be Maritime then,
Okay,
fish company. Ern used to buy fish for him.
yeah,
That was when Keith was only, saying me, young.
yeah.
And they kind of went out of business and moved to Digby. And Keith went to Ontario. And he worked out there, I think, in the airplane factory for a while. And he come back home and got in with a fellow running the Maritime there in Digby. Old Frank Anderson, I think is his name. And bought fish down here. That's before he bought that plant they just tore down there.
Mhm.
And when the Lundberg Company stopped buying fish here, well, he bought that.
I'm going to ask you some more about that later. Lots more. What was going to school like? Where was the school?
Right over here.
I actually don't know exactly where the Centerville School was. It was
Well,
on this road or on the main highway?
that was right here.
Yeah?
See that that trailer over there?
Yes?
The other side of that, see that there pine tree?
Mhm.
That's right the other side of that.
Yeah?
There's a driveway right in there.
So you didn't have too far to go?
No, that's too close.
So,
Get dead as devils, they were. Mom was right here, and Dad was right.
so you started, when did you go to school? When you were about 5 years old, like it is today?
They're 6 years old, something
Yes.
like that.
And what do you remember about going to school?
Oh, I don't remember too much about it. What I mean, I was too busy raising hell.
Like, so, for example, what would you be doing?
Huh?
For example, what would you be doing to
Oh,
raise a little hell?
Skip school,
Great.
switch over there.
Is it? Okay, thank you.
And sneak away from school.
And go where?
Oh, anywhere so where they couldn't see you. Different thing, getting squabbles.
Who?
Perhaps get land in the schoolhouse with a teacher with a strap on that long. I was dead. Then if my father got wind of anything like that, I got another one when I got home.
So how often would you skip school?
Oh, I don't know. A couple times a week maybe.
And
Often as I dared to.
yes. And who would skip out with you?
Almost always go along somewhere, you know. Down amongst the people, or as long as I stay out of sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did you last in school?
Oh, I only went for grade 7 again.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go, so Father said, well, I can't have you run the roads. I got a place for you.
So
Right.
what was that place?
Right in
Working where?
In the boat with him.
Yes. What was he fishing for?
Hake and haddock and lobster, everything. So I went fishing with him. When I was fishing with him, I didn't get away with nothing.
Was it just
And when the other ones got old enough, they went with him and I went with somebody else. Some other fisherman.
But when you went with him, it was just the two of you
Hmm.
on the boat?
Yeah, little 35-foot boat. One longer engine in it.
Is that what they call a make and break engine? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Some of them was the Katy engines, some was Hartfords, some was Fairbanks's. There's only 10 horsepower.
And were these relatively new to
Hmm?
fishing? Were these new to fishing at the time? Was it
Yeah, they
not long before that they had no engines?
No, these you sailed, row, and oars row.
Yeah.
Take them sailboats, they had to be awful careful with them. Because they always had a lot of ballast in them. If you got water in them, why, they'd sink you like a rock. Had a place there where you could bail water out. But they knew how to handle them. There was a few accidents. People got drowned, you know. Far from down here, Willie Dakin's grandfather was drowned out here.
Yeah, what happened there?
Well, somehow they filled her and she sunk. And a fellow from top Seawall Hill got drowned down there, a Robichaud fellow. Somehow he toppled overboard. And of course, you couldn't get him. Yeah, they used to have accidents with them.
So when you started fishing for your father, about how many other boats were there in Centerville?
Oh, 30, 25, 30 small boats.
All pretty much the same kind of boats?
Yeah.
Fishing for the same things?
Yeah, for a long time there, the biggest boat would be about 36 feet long and maybe 6, 7 feet wide.
That's pretty narrow compared to nowadays.
Yeah.
And what did the wharf look like then? Did they have the three wharves then?
Yeah, they was a little bit different than what's here now. Before there was a local timber in them. They hauled the timber, they hewed it out, and built the wharves that way. There used to be one right foot shore hill where that one is now. Well, it's a little bit over than that. But the big one there, that's where the first one was built.
Yeah.
There was wharves built here before that, but I think that was built in first one around 1912, something like that.
And whose job was it to build them?
Well, as far as I can remember, the man that built his name was Reed, contractor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little bigger than the ones there now. A little longer, and it had a big warehouse on it. And a slipway in it. You could come in, it was up and down, it was
Mm-hmm.
trucks or carts. Or you could put boats in there and haul them out up there. Yoke cattle or something.
But how did they build them without heavy cranes and things like that?
Hmm?
Without the heavy cranes and
Oh, no,
equipment,
no,
how did they do
no.
it?
Handle them by hand with PVs and oxen. Drag them down the wharf.
Was there a crib with lots of rocks in it, or did they build them differently then?
Cribs with rocks in
Yeah.
them. They put in the bottom they'd have, well, stringers. Close enough together the rocks wouldn't go down through. And then they fill it full up Then they have another bunch of stringers in it. And fill them up that way so you got top. And you bored all the holes by hand, an auger. You bore the holes, somebody come along behind you with a pin maul and a bolt, and bolt them down. It was a lot of hard work, though, building them bores. I heard my father say, on the other side of the brook there, they's building one there. See, the first one was built was Bootler. That's across the brook.
Mm-hmm.
Used to lay the old steamer to it. It's called a Centerville. The boat's name was.
It was called the Centerville? Yeah?
Yeah. And then the fishermen built a piece on the end of it. And after they got it built, putting rocks in it, they get dory loads of rocks, up alongside. But when tide wasn't right, they go down on the beach. One of them would turn around with his hands behind him, walk his fingers together. Another fellow would put a rock on his back. He'd lug it up, drop it. And, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was all they could lug a rock.
So nowadays, I know we have these harbor authorities, but so some fishermen themselves took it upon themselves to build something that would work for them.
Well, they always had, the government, when they first put the wharves, they had what they called a kind of a wharfinger.
Mm-hmm.
He would keep track of things, and they always had somebody around Centerville kind of represent for the government.
Yep.
And, well, they'd find out what they wanted, and they'd give somebody in Digby what they wanted. And they'd go from Digby, it would go to Ottawa.
But even then, that's what I was trying to get at. Even then,
Oh, yeah.
that's how it worked.
Yeah. They had MPs in Digby there. I remember hearing them talking about one. His name was Short.
Short?
Short was
Yeah.
his last name.
Yeah.
And different things. And some big lawyer in town would be into it too. So. And it's very likely they made sure they made the money. And there used to be a big shot there in town. Our grandfather lived in town. And
A Graham?
hmm?
A who?
Our Graham,
A Graham.
his last name was.
Yes.
I can't think of his first name, but Dr. McLeave married his daughter anyway,
Okay.
back in the day. And the old lawyer Terrio, he was a big shot in the Liberal Party. And you take perhaps some other big shot would be in the Tories. And, well, they have a big squabble, one accusing the other. Doing something they do themselves. Yeah.
Were people here interested in elections and?
Oh, around here,
represented them?
yeah. Boy, you go down the road, they haul you to, they preach to you, and, what they was doing, what they're gonna do, and of course, after the election's all over with, didn't know you. Oh, it used to be some all squabbles sometimes down there. They get in the hair or something. Tory gets the Liberals. And that's all it was then. There was no other parties, just the two. Come voting day, they take you out somewhere. Perhaps slip you a quart of whiskey. Us young fellas watching, if they hide it, we'd feel it. Yeah. gotta keep the back of my leg. Yeah, there's all kinds of, oh boy, what they, shines they wouldn't do, you know.
I don't know what you're barking at. Come on.
Hey, you.
Yeah, it used to be fun. You all getting
Problem. Ain't a thing up there.
somewhere talking, and we'd sneak around where they couldn't see us and listening to it. Oh boy, they spot it. They put the run to it.
All right, I'm interested in this whole picture of Centerville, completing the picture of what it looked like when you were growing up around here.
Not really, but back in the old days, no. I got a picture of Centerville from Baptist church to the shore.
Yep,
It was took from the air again.
yep.
I'll get it in a minute.
Okay. Was it always called Centerville?
Yeah.
Then? Where did this Trout Cove come from?
Well, Trout Cove, when you talk about Trout Cove, you're talking about the shore.
Okay.
And it's always been called, even the government, the work they done there was Trout Cove. And whoever settled there must have caught a trout down there or something. That's the only way, you know.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot of sea trouts come in here, the brook here, before it got, well, poisoned, or they don't come now. But, oh, my great-great-great-grandfather, whatever his name is, yeah,
Ah.
he was the first one settled there.
Right.
Captain Isaac Titus.
Titus.
And,
That was your great-great-grandfather?
yeah, my grandfather's grandfather,
Okay.
1780, somewhere along there. Whenever they had that tea party there in Boston,
Yes.
come down here. They always called it a tea party.
Yep, the Boston Tea Party.
He was down here twice. He come first, and
Yeah.
he went back, and he got in a mix-up there with the armies, and he had to leave. He come down here, and they had to prove on their properties, you know, build their houses, then they get a grant.
Yep.
And his first house was built up here. It's tore down now. But,
Yep.
and he had, 600 acres, I guess it was. And the one over there, they always called Cutler's house.
Yes.
Oh, that was one of the first houses that ever was built. Not the one that's there, but it got burned. And that's where my grandfather was born, over there. Him and, I don't know how many brothers he had. One of them moved the island. And his name was Losi.
Losi.
He moved down Central Grove. You ever on the island?
I live on the island. I live in Freeport.
Freeport.
Yeah.
You know where, I can tell you where he settled.
Yeah.
You know where Lily Small's place is?
Yes.
This side of it, you remember there used to be an old house there for a long time?
Might have been before my time.
No, it's only been about 10, 15 years.
That
since-
would be before. I only moved there in the past
Oh.
5 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this side of Lily's,
Yeah.
on coming up the island, it would be on your right, I guess, and going down be on your left.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
And I forget they built some houses in there.
Okay. Yeah.
It was an old house there for years.
Yeah.
And after a while, they tore it down. Well, that's where he lived.
Really? Wow.
And, let's see. What you call him was, I think, born there. Bill Titus is his name. He lived in Victoria Beach. He just died here,
Okay.
3-4 months ago. And, well, let's see. Bill had a brother. He died here a few years ago. His name was Elwood. He had died of a heart attack. They found he lived there in a camp there fishing. But Bill's father was crippled up with the same Carl was. And him and Alton had to go fishing when they 12, 14 years old. Because he was a cripple, he couldn't work. And his mother was from Senegal. Bill's mother. She was a grand. And you heard tell Diney? Lloyd Graham?
No, I don't think so.
Lived right on the corner.
Yeah?
The house on the side, the window beat out of it.
Yes?
That's where he lived.
Yeah?
And he moved off the old road up here. He had a big barn there. They cut it in two. One brother took half and the other brother took the other half. And one lived, built that house where David Lombard lived in it there.
Yep.
That would be an old Henry Graham, his name was. He bought that house off the old road, I think. They said that some Dorsey built it there, but I don't know whether he did or not. Henry's name was. Oh, that would be Conrad's great-grandfather, I guess.
Yes?
Something like that. And they lived right where you going down the old road, right where you turned to go down Lures Beach.
Yep.
There's an old cellar in there.
Yep.
And when they moved up here, well, the old people, I guess, died or something. There's houses a whole length of that whole road, right straight. Well, the houses on this side of the road come from off of there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the original Isaac Titus, when he first came here, he was like the first of anybody in Centerville?
Yeah,
And they settled up on this end, though.
yeah.
There was nothing towards the shore.
Well, only fishing.
Yep.
Then there was a Dakin come here from over New Brunswick. He settled there, the Jago place. It was a log cabin then.
But about the same time?
Well, a little while after, you know.
Yeah.
And after a while they built a house. That old part on Miss Jago's was built in, used to be a thing up on the house there, 1869, I think it was built.
Did Isaac come with the intent to make a living fishing, or fishing and farming, or just farming?
Well, he had a farm, do both, back in them days.
But they did fish,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was that old Lucy. He used to own that place of Guy's, where Guy lived. And the house is gone now. It was down across the brook. And the other little ways from it over, that old house down in there, that was another Titus lived there.
Yeah.
And his wife was a ward. They had that, and they had girls then. But the old father lived on Guy's place. Lucy took it over when he got old. most of his family went back to state. His name was Edmund. And not the Edmund I knew or anything. But
No.
then he sold it to Tut, Tuttle Ring.
Okay.
And that house of guys was down the road. They took it apart and brought it up there. Set it up.
They thought nothing of moving houses.
Oh, they moved with a horse and a thing. The horse would walk and walk blocks, you know. If it was too big, the way the houses are built, it was all wooden pinned, mortise pinned. You take a pin out, you take a whole wall right out. And
Could you explain how they moved them with the horses again, please, Elwood? What do you mean?
turnbuckle, we used to call
Right.
them, it had a thing on it, tie the horse to it, like a tongue. And that horse would walk in circles, and the rope was on that,
Right.
and all the blocks and tackles and stuff.
Yes.
Well, perhaps they move it a couple 100 feet in a day or so.
Yeah.
If it was a little too big to move, they take it apart and move it that way.
I've heard people say that the men in Centerville were like giants of men.
Yeah, I
And they
guess-
got, can you remember men seeming really big? Like you're big. You're a big man. And
Yeah, well, this here fellow that lived down there, his name was Edmund. He was a great big man. He was around pretty near 7 feet tall. And regular giant, like, you know. Regular bulls, you know, big, strong. Of course, they worked daylight till dark. And clearing up all these here, oh boy. The rock piles back here. I guess he does the work. So when they hauled the wood out and made the road, we used the rock piles to make the road. So, of course, don't make no difference. Don't do no farming now. It's just growing up. Had a hurricane blowed the barn down over here at 1950 something.
did that have a name? Did that hurricane have a name?
Yeah, Edna.
Okay.
That was the name of the hurricane.
Was there something called the Saxby Gale?
Yeah,
What was that?
yeah, that was a big hurricane.
Earlier?
That was way back,
Earlier, way back?
or 1927, or anyway, somewhere back along there. And I heard the old man tell about it. Used to be a lot of willow trees here,
Yes?
and they used to have them along the fences, you know, on the lines.
They must have planted them.
Well, I don't know, they must have.
Yeah.
And the schoolhouse is across the road. There was all willow trees, right down along John Graham's line there,
Yeah?
and Farnsworth. And after that, they started dying after that big gale. And my father told me it looked just like they'd been burnt. It was whatever was that gale. And they died. Now, I can remember an old willow stump that was right on the corner between Miss Berry and the school lot.
Yeah.
We used to climb up on it, you know, going to school there. And it died anyway, the big willow tree. And they ain't been there, no willows around much since.
No, never see them around here.
There used to come a few, there was a few silver maples around. And great big trees, there used to be there in front of Arnold Banks. There used to be a couple of them there. And there used to be one across the road here. And the Farnsworths, they moved down here from Digby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they bought that land, I guess, from an old Titus seller. And the Grahams over there, they bought that piece in there. Used to be a Dorsey lot. They used to buy fish here once, the Dorseys.
Dorsey's.
And
haven't heard that.
Darcy's.
Okay, Darcy's, yes.
That's
Yeah.
in Ireland. The southern part were Dorsey's, northern part were Darcy's. Religion, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The northern part was Protestants and the southern part was Catholic.
Yeah.
Fight like hell.
Yeah.
They're still fighting there. Yeah, my grandparents on the Darcy side come from Waterford,
Yes.
Ireland.
Yes. I wonder if that's how Waterford got its name, naming it after Ireland. I just
Could
assumed
be.
it was because it crossed the water
Yeah.
there, but maybe that's the connection.
Yeah, it could be because, as far as I know, old Captain Isaac, he's buried over there, Waterford.
In Waterford?
There's an old stone there. But we've been trying to find him for quite a while. They've been coming here. We can't find him in the cemetery up here.
No.
See, there's an old cemetery up here.
Oh.
The first Baptist minister on Digby Neck, I guess, is buried up here. Crandall. The stone's there, but it got broke. It's laying there.
That's not the Waterford Cemetery.
No, one up
That's-
here in the field.
Yep.
Half it's on Miss Berry and half it's on me. All those Dakins and Morehouses and all kinds, buried in there up here.
Does anybody look after that cemetery?
No, it's growed up.
Is it?
There's a fellow from Scotland comes here every once in a while. He was over here this summer. Took pictures of the stones and everything like that. His mother was related to the Tituses. And he worked in some kind of a college or some kind of a professor or something.
Yeah.
And he's been there different times. There's a fellow in Digby comes down here with him. He's from Westport. Tell you so. Blair is his name. He's lived in Digby quite a while, but he's from Westport. He lives right there. Kentucky Fried Chicken going through toward Digby Neck, second house.
Yep.
On that same side of the Kentucky Fried Chicken. He used to drive taxi in Digby for a long while.
Yep.
And the young fellow that was doing it is from Westport. The books, and he had all wrote different things. And there was a few mistakes in it, but it was the best he could do. He's only a young fellow, around 30, 35.
Yep.
And he's living in Yarmouth now.
And did he pass that out to all the Tituses, or
Hmm?
did he sell that book, or
Yeah.
pass it out to all the Tituses?
Yeah. Yeah, I got one of them there.
Yep.
And in fact, I got pictures of that cemetery up here. Different things on it. Somewhere in the room there. If I get on harness, I go find it.
A little later.
Let us know if you want to take a break at any time.
Yeah, I think it's all. I'll go
You
get
want to take a break? Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, and I'm not blocking it.
Nope. That's good.
Yeah, Keith went to pieces when his first wife died.
What a shame. Yeah. He's got a nice son though. Gary's a
Yeah.
nice boy.
He's
Fixing
got a
up the
brother
house.
up in Annapolis somewhere.
Who does?
Keith.
Keith?
He does. Oh.
Arnold, I think's his name.
Oh.
He's older than Keith.
I see. Yeah.
He used to work on the buoy boat for years. And he married a girl from Central Grove, Johnson girl.
Right. Uh-huh.
And they moved, when he retired, they moved up to Annapolis. And they're up there somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, back to this house moving and barn building. That barn you had that blew down, the barn that was back here that blew down, who would have built that?
Well, my grandfather and his grandfather, Captain Isaac,
Okay.
and they helped build this house. I think they finished it in 1950. My grandfather started to get it. He got the land things, he was only a kid, 15, 16 years old. And he built the barn, he built a big building over here, used for like a workshop, put doors and things in to work on, a hen pen on one side and a pig pen in the back. And we always had a big bunch of cattle, oxen, and everything here. And my grandfather was in his 30s before he got married. And he had a big family after that. I don't know whether they had rabbit blood in them or not. My father said when the Tituses here moved the island, after they get down the island, they bred like rabbits. Great big family, 12, 14, every family. So it don't take long to populate.
That's right.
No.
Like,
Who were some of the other builders around here? Were there some people that were noted for building and some people that were noted for other things?
well, yeah, there's boat builders there. Old Ken Lewis, he built a boat right in Darnell Banks' yard. A small scull boat.
Yeah.
And he built another one right across the road from, well, you know where Taylor's lived.
Yeah.
The house is gone now. Right in that yard they built one. And Bootler built the sample down at the shore. Then he built another one named after Angus's mother,
Which was
Frances A. or something like that. That was when he was getting pretty old then, you know, and I think he developed Alzheimer's or something. They used to call it softening the brain.
Yes.
And Charlie Morton's wife was that way. She got old, you know. But Charlie Morton's mother, old Adelaide, I don't know, she was crawling on to 100, I guess, before she died. And she was just as sharp and everything up, you know. And Darrell was her pet, Darrell Morton. And she spoiled him good. Play cards and drink booze. But Elwood was the other way. That's to be Daniel's father. Daniel's father, he was the other way. He was all business, you know. I don't know whether he drunk anything else. I never ever seen him do it.
I doubt it. I was trying to sort them all out the other day. So, in the Morton family, going back as far as you can go, there was, what was the old,
The oldest fellow of all that lived there, his name was
Daniel.
Yeah. And he was buried right up close to Harry Stanton's house on that hill. And when they got the cemetery down there on 1860 something, they started this one down here.
Yeah.
They dug him up. You know,
Yes.
his box and everything was there. They took him out and going to move him there. And somebody got newly and they opened it.
Ooh.
He was there for a minute and he went right to dust. So they tell me, and I don't know whether it's right or not, but they took him up anyway from down here. And there's 2 Dakins buried going back for the lobster pound. You
Yep.
see them tombstones
Yep.
there? There should be a woman there. The first Dakin come here with his wife, she just buried somewhere there. And If you're ever in the cemetery down the lake, there's a rock there with a tombstone or something on it, sitting on it.
Yeah.
All kinds of stones and things in it. Well, that was down here on the beach. And the Dakin towed it up in the yard. And old Fred Dakin had it moved down there. And I think he put a tombstone on it. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know whether it was a meter or whether it blowed up when Senegal
Oh.
was made or whatever. But you take where Willie Dakin's old house is, there was clamshells in the bottom of that well when they dug it.
Wow.
So the tide must have been up in there sometime. And the old man said the way he talked, the way they figured, the water went cleared up to the whole road here, a new road there, up in that valley, right up there. And whatever happened, something blew up
Yeah.
to fill the place in. Same as seawall. Up there, Gullivers. If that ever got started through, there'd be no more Gullivers. It's only about 3 feet difference,
Yeah.
one side to the other. They claim it to be an island there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say Sandy Cove thing, same thing happened.
Yeah. I can picture it sweeping through there.
Sure.
It was
So-
all island, so she blew up. I don't know what happened, but she left lots of solid ground underneath of it. Just solid rock.
Yes.
It must have been melted, but just hardened.
Yeah.
So,
So,
same
Daniel
story.
Morton,
Over here, my well, it's 14 feet deep, right on top of a ledge. You don't know how deep it might be. Water comes in through from way back somewhere in the
Uh-huh.
The vein goes that way
yeah.
because there used to be an old well over there from the farmer in them days. And used to put creamers in it to cool them down, you know, and they upset one. And the next day, the milk was in this well.
Uh-huh.
That was on the same vein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all filled with rocks now. When they took all the house, that old house and barn was gone, why, they didn't leave the well. They filled it with rocks, in case, you know, so nobody could get in it.
Yeah.
And my father helped them do that, fill that up with rocks over there. We always had 2 or 3 cows. We was young fellas, we had 10 of them. Sometimes you go back, they wouldn't come out in the woods, we go back, couldn't find them. And this day they'd come out, take them home and milk them.
Did you have fences or did they
Oh
just...
yeah,
yeah,
you
they
see
just-
the pastures was fenced off, but somehow they get out of sight, and us young fellas, well, we didn't hunt too far.
Right.
More scared than anything else back to the woods. They always used to have a lane right to the wood. And they used to go back. They used to come right out behind the barn at a yard there.
Okay, more about growing up. When you got home from school, when you were going to school, the days you went, what were your responsibilities before you could go out and play?
Well, I don't know. I'm in the house, get a big slice of bread, roll around. Mom would do it for us. She'd make us do it. Get the kindlings in, wood, and be up pasture. 5 o'clock, fetch cattle home. Milk. We milk them. Yeah.
Were your parents pretty strict with all of you children?
Hmm?
Were your parents pretty strict with all of you children?
Yeah. Yeah. Getting any deviltry, we do it.
When you went fishing with your dad, after you finished school, you went fishing with your father. What was your life like after that? How come you left fishing with him to fish with somebody else?
Oh, I had another brother come along behind
Okay.
me.
It was his
He
turn.
took him,
Yeah,
learned him.
yeah.
And I was somebody else, and they learned me what they knew, besides what the old man learned me. And everything was by hand then. There was no machinery then.
No.
Get down there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, put a tub of trawl on your back, walk way down around from the fish house at the end of the wharf, lower them down board the boat, and your gas, and well, you'd have to make a couple trips or so. After a while, somebody would get an old horse wagon and they'd rig it up, paw trawl on, haul them down on the wharf. And go fishing with a little compass about that big, an old lantern, thick fog, going over across there, wide open. Geez, what I could think it doesn't come up ahead of it. Going out one morning, I was fishing with an old fella up here, John Robshaw. We come out of the fog, and there was a great big fish, an old American dragger out there. Oh boy, he wasn't very far from him. And one time I fishing with father, we lay into the trawl. And I could hear this woo, steamer coming up the bay. Every so many seconds he'd blow, blow. And the old man was sitting there by, he put the compass down. He was watching the compass, listening. And on by he says, put a charge in the engine. He says, so she'll go. Rock her back and forth, suck some in her, try her, and she'd start right off, stop her, sit there. He had a long gaff. He would hit on the washboards, sound,
Yeah.
And on by, he'd say, the engine was all ready. He says, you get up on the bow. He said, the rope, take it off the stem and just take a turn, hold it. And on by, I see him reach down, start the engine, just let her go. We just drifted back out of the way. She'd come out of the fog. Oh boy, big as a house. He was at the watchman must have heard the engine when they started it. And they sheared, but we wasn't very far from it. My hair stood.
No kidding.
I don't know.
You were pretty young, I was going to say, 14, 15, something like that.
15 or 16,
Yeah.
I suppose. But we didn't go too far because we'd wouldn't see our buoy. We had a buoy on it. We chucked it over. And had to keep it so we'd go back and pick it up and go by. And even by, I could see this rowboat behind the steamer. That was these thing you chuck overboard to get your mileage and your speed. And,
Oh, yeah.
they tow it.
Yep.
It looked like a little torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the rope. And sometimes if they catch it, they part it, they lose it. And sometimes the different ones that pulled them up on the trawl where they lost them. Yeah, they give them their miles, their speed.
It was like their log.
Hmm?
It was like a log for them. It would log
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah?
I forget what they called it.
Must be a
It
name.
had a log to it.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Would you fish year round?
Hmm?
Did you fish year round?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the middle of February, we'd stop for a month or so. The fish would be going by, haddock and lobster boats. They didn't fish too much in the wintertime. Of course, it's all by hand. They only had 30, 40 traps, That's all they could handle here in the tide.
And to get into lobster fishing in those days was anybody could get in? Anybody could
Oh
fish?
yeah, as long as you had 25 cents, go buy a license. That's all it cost. First license I had, I was over in St. Mary's Bay, 25 cents.
Yeah.
Over Brewers Beach there, we fished there. We go over there and last October, about like now, or a little later, a week or so, we'd stay there.
You fished out of Boers Beach too?
Mm.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, we had the upper camp,
Yeah.
and that Groundhog Day tore it out. We built that one. Lawrence's, ours was next in the middle, and the lower one was Lawrence's.
Lawrence's. Who was in the middle?
Ari, Lawrence's father,
Okay.
and him and Russell,
Yeah.
his brother. They stayed in that one. We was only about from here to there from the tide. With all the room there was between the rocks.
Yeah.
Built it. Then, after I left there, my brother went with my father. I went scallop fishing. And them days of big boats, you couldn't really handle them down there. You couldn't hold them. Be big swell, you know. You could take them to Digby. And nobody had any cars much. You went to Digby as day, a week or so. Lived right aboard the boats. Raised hell around Digby. It used to be a place right next to there's a restaurant there, and there was a store right just below Chinaman's. Or
Was it called Pines? Not Pines Market.
no,
Something
Pines
was-
Market was down close to Royal Bank, but this was going down Jew Cove, we called it.
Not Tupper Warren's.
Yeah. Used to be a fellow there from Broad Cove had a store there.
It
Right
was
next,
called Jew Cove?
huh?
What was it called?
Jew Cove.
Yeah.
And just where you get the courier office,
Yes, I'm picturing that's
There
where
was
it
a
would be.
Mongolian guy.
there's a couple buildings gone out of there now, but used to call it the Big Apple. There's a restaurant, and they had a dance hall in the back, and everything. That's where all the fishermen would crowd in there, getting the seats, watch the people dancing. One boy, there'd be a big fight start. They'd cheer either one or the other. One boy, Max Daly, would come, rode them outdoors. He run it daily. He called him Max Daly. And you ever heard tell Helen Daly
I
in
know.
Digby?
I know of a Helen Daly that's in Tideview right now.
That's the one. She
Yeah.
run it.
Yes?
Yeah. Her and her husband.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's Guy Morris's daughter.
Oh. So when did you first start leaving the neck and going to town?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably you stayed, it was a long time before you actually started leaving.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah?
Jump on back of an old truck or something. Town or somebody going to go to town for 10 cents. If you had $1 in your pocket, you was well away. Bottle of pop was only 10 cents. Hot dog, 10 cents. If you had a spare quarter, you go to a movie. The old buy joke.
That's in Digby?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Right where Ricardo's is now again.
Yeah.
Used to be right there. Used to be a great big post office there on the Capitol Theater, right alongside of Gabriel's flower shop there.
Yeah.
Right there used to be a Capitol Theater
Yeah.
right there.
That was there until not that long ago.
Right there where the Gables is now used to be a hardware. And they used to build tanks and all kinds of stuff in back. Some Hadley Dakin was his name. He used to do all the work. Benny Ruggles owned it. A hardware store.
Built tanks for what?
Boats, gas
Yes.
tanks,
Yep.
and all them rounded, and
Yep.
10 gallons of gas, stuff like that. Yeah, and
When you stopped fishing with your father, did you still live at home?
yeah,
You still lived here.
yeah,
But then who's the person you went to fish with after him?
Harold. Brother Harold.
Okay.
He was next to me.
But who did you go to fish with?
Well, see, the first one I started with, I guess, was John Robshaw. No, he used to live up here.
Yeah.
And 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, they rode us out of bed. Mom always got up, got her breakfast first. And sometimes I was just getting home. Funny that.
From what?
Yeah, chasing girls. You want to go anywhere, you walked.
It's a long walk home from Digby.
Yeah, go up on Sculver or Seawall Hill, on down Lake Midway. There's 3, 4 houses more there then. Used to be that big house where Den lived in it, and Rosetta.
Yes.
And right across the road, right up the hill there, you see an old bachelor lived there, old Everett Walker. Then up the road a ways, there's different people lived in it, used to rent it. There's a great big barn there once, before you got to the house, between the house and road. An old Morehouse place it was.
I had heard of a fellow in Centerville that was known as a barn builder who worked all winter getting the material to build barns, and then in the spring he'd build these barns. Do you remember? And somebody told me that Mrs. Berry's barn was the last barn he built.
Well,
You know who that
I don't know just who it would be. Unless it's some old Dakin feller. You see, they used to live, the Dakins used to live there on the side of Downell.
Mm-hmm.
And across the road there used to be an old fellow lived there, Westgate. Charles Westgate. He had a stiff leg. And he always kept his cattle in Lee Westgate's barn.
Mm-hmm.
See, Lee's house wasn't there then. And that's where their family was. And there was a house where Percy is before Percy built that one. I think that might have been an old Dakin. And anyway, they built that house of Johnny's over here.
Yeah.
And they moved down. He was an old Justice of Peace or something like that. And Ian Dakin's wife was his daughter. Old Tut's wife was his daughter. They used to do his business, you know, one thing and another. And right on the corner there used to be a Graham, old Solomon Graham. He'd be a older brother of Tut and them.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 or 3 children. They moved up west. They never come back. And down the road used to be old Captain Rob Green. That house burnt.
Mm-hmm.
Where Weezy used to live one time.
Yes.
Well, Donald Kidd lived there, the house below. It's gone now, it's burnt. Used to live there. He used to run the Centerville. He was captain on her. And some of them lived down there somewhere, in the lake. But there's 2 different families of Grames, you know.
Mm-hmm.
One family come from Digby, that'd be Tot family and them. and the other family was here, was down the old road. They was mixed up somehow with Grimeses in the old days, you know, and a lot of people changed their name when they had that squabble there in the state. They come down here, and a lot of them just changed their name around. And Eldridge's, their real name when they first come here was Foster.
Yes?
Yeah. And that's the way with one part of the Graham family. They were Grimeses. They were Dutch people, you know, like, or something like that. And anyway, one bunch of Grahams, a lot of Dutch and stuff in them. The other bunch of Scotch and some. But down that old road, somewhere close to where the Graham house was, farm there's a couple graves there. And somewhere right there, well, there's a lot of people buried along that old road. Jimmy Gidby and Richard Titus come across two build-up of rocks, you know, so long, so
Yeah.
big. And they started looking, you know, and they started kind of moving rocks, you know, looking. And then it was all hollow in there. Well, Richard said, "This is as far as I'm going." He said, "I'm a going." And they put the rocks back. And he said, "I'm not looking any further." He said, "There's somebody buried there." He says, I ain't looking. So somewhere close to where that old cellar was,
Yeah.
where you turned, or I guess where you turned to get down Blewer's Beach,
Yep.
right there somewhere. Somewhere there, and the Walkers, and yeah, that house Angus living in now, I think, come from the old road.
Yeah.
Come across, hauled it across.
I think the house that Murray Ross used to live in,
Yeah,
I
that
always
come
heard
off.
that came from the old
Yeah,
road.
yeah, Walkers. They say Walkers, when they first come, their name was York, and they had a fellow with them. They come with them was a Walker, and they dropped the York and took Walker. Oh boy, somebody moved.
Yeah. Good watch.
Terry Frederick.
Oh.
No, go on.
Grr, listen.
You'll be good, I'll smack you.
Boy, you're going to take somebody's leg off someday.
Yes, I'm scared.
He is a little snappy.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to pause
Hello.
this for a minute?
Sure.
Now you got the
Hi, Terry.
camera on.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, we're rolling there.
Okay, I kind of forget where we left off, but how much interaction was there between the kids in Centerville and Lake Midway? Did you go as far as Sandy Cove?
Oh yeah,
Young
we used
kids?
to walk down there. Sometimes getting a squall. Get down there. Graham boys. Bud. Henry is his
Yes.
name. And Jim. And we get down there. And we meet perhaps a bunch coming up. They come up here and chase girls. We get down there. And when we go, we meet down there somewhere.
So the squabbles were about the girls.
Mm.
Did you ever meet on the ice of Lake Midway and duke it out in a hockey game?
To what?
And fight it out in a hockey game? Did you ever have big hockey games
Oh yeah, we used to have a rink here once.
here in Centerville?
Right,
Where was
right across the road, Charlie Morton is now.
Yes.
Over across the other side of the brook.
Yeah.
We had a rink built there once.
Who built it?
Oh, it's the bunch here and the hockey players. They used to have hockey team there once. And I used to go way up in the valley playing hockey. Mostly to raise hell, I guess. I don't know whether we ever won the very many games or not now. I forget.
Did the boys from Centerville have a particular kind of reputation?
Yeah, in some ways. And there always was a bunch that went somewhere. There's always in squabbles and fights. Old Edmund Titus used to live over the corner. He's dead now. Oh, I don't know how long, 10, 15 years. He's always in a squabble somewhere. He moved away from here when he was young. His father built that house right here. And lived in Lynn, I think it was, or somewhere in Boston.
Massachusetts? Yeah.
Used to tend the city's fire heating system.
Yeah.
And he was in the American Navy for quite a while. And we got out of that, he came down here. And he got in the Navy here when the war started. It was all through the war. The Navy board of Corvettes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even far as like that in the war, you know, and they was always in fights. One defending the reputation of his regiment, somebody else's or something. Some of them had some pretty hard times over there, boy. I tell you, they went through a lot.
You were basically a baby at the end of World War I, so then you would have been too old for World War II. You weren't in the armed forces.
No, I
No.
wasn't. I was down examined for it.
Yes?
But I had a bad ankle,
Yes?
and they wouldn't, so the training and things, it wouldn't stand it. But Harold, he was in it. He was sergeant when he come out and got us through the war. He was supposed to go overseas 2 or 3 times. He was in the gun corps or something. He was a repairman for a gunsmith. And every time he was ready to be shipped out, his officers would fetch him back. Couldn't get nobody to run it the way they wanted it. And he was all ready to war again when the war stopped. And Carl, he was a cop, a profile in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And
So that was two in your family
yeah,
that were
Glenn
in the
didn't.
armed forces.
There was something wrong. Glendon couldn't get in,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was in his back because he had 2 or 3 operations on his back.
Were you disappointed?
Mhm.
Were you disappointed that you couldn't get in? Were a lot of
In some
men-
ways I
Yeah.
was, and some I wasn't.
Yeah.
Didn't really like it if I'd have been in it, I'd never got back, and likely. But when I was in Halifax getting examined, I was down there twice. And they told me that if I would go through your basic training, you were headed for the profile. They put me right in the police force. It ain't what I wanted, but pretty hard there for have to go rush the fight, you know, some of your friends and put them in jail or something.
Yeah.
But
I wonder why they figured that would be the place for you right off the bat. Is it because you were big?
yeah, I was big then, 6'4", 250 pounds. At that time, I was 22, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yes, you were plenty. I gotta do the math here.
I didn't get in anyway.
No. But a large number of young men from Centerville would have enlisted. A lot of men from Centerville would have enlisted.
Well, Elwood Titus was in it.
Yeah.
Emerson Hursty, used to call him Jesse. And Victor Titus. Victor was in the engineers. He was overseas. They had to build bridges ahead of the army. Boy, they had a hard time. Could you be working, whatever you was working on, sometimes blowed right up under your feet.
Wow.
John Green was in it. He was overseas. Willie Dakin. I was anymore or not. Forget that.
So what was it like back here during the war? What was it like in Centerville?
Well, just about the same as it is now. There wasn't much difference. So of course, you was working all the time, you know.
What was the... Sorry, go ahead.
Hmm?
Did I interrupt you?
No?
Okay. What would you say was the heyday for Centerville? The busiest years in Centerville.
Well,
And what were the hardest years?
it's pretty hard to say. We was busy all the time. It's a year round here. Wasn't doing one thing, we was doing another. We get fishing. Well, we fish up till way after Christmas. You got through that, come home, you sharpen up your saws and axes, and you was back in the woods cutting your firewood. And got that cut, you get it hauled out. We always used to have a sawing machine, a machine to saw wood. We used to go around sawing wood for people so much, you know. We saw ours, and then you'd split. Some old feller would have a lot of wood. They'd have a frolic, they called it.
Yes?
A whole bunch of people would go there. They'd have a big supper ready. We split wood.
Yeah.
So, that was get your supper.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Mm.
Good system.
Sometimes they'd have a dance in the
Yeah.
house and different things like that. If they wasn't too religious, why, could be pretty good party sometimes.
What would you do for music?
No, local music. Used to be a couple of fellers here. Darrell Bunker. He used to live in Whale Cove. Yeah, Whale Cove. He had a couple of sisters married up here. And Lee Farnsworth, he sort of down across with accordions.
Yeah.
Boy, they could play, too. And the old Arch Hersey or some of them would have a fiddle, you know, guitars. Both the first guitar we had around here was that I seen was a Dimmick, Carl Dimmick. His father was a minister here once. And he used to play the guitar. Roy Graham used to play the fiddle. And different ones like that. There used to be a feller come here, his parents was born here young in Montreal. He used to play the banjo and stuff like that. He's quite a musician, he was. Yeah, they used to have pretty good. Down the road, there'd be some old fellers down there. The old store used to be there. Billy Titus, the Elwood father, Freeman, them.
Yeah.
And them old fellers get in there, and they get in an argument. Oh, argue like hell, you think they're going to kill one another.
Right in the store?
Huh?
Right in the store?
Yeah, you could hear them hooting and hollering for a half mile. They wouldn't get no fights, but
Right.
if he was wrong, he wouldn't admit it. He'd argue like hell. Bill Robichaud, Claire Dukeshire, different ones. And every once in a while they'd get a freak on, they'd get in arguments over the Bible, religion. Who was right and who was wrong. Oh, that old Bill Robichaud, you could hear him for a half mile. Letting the bellers right out of him, arguing, you know. A great big pipe, you know, the smoke would be coming out, you think it was a train coming. Oh, Harm Holmes down here used to argue a lot, but he never
Who was
ever
that?
talked. Huh?
Who was that?
Harm Holmes.
Never heard of him.
He used to live there where the house is gone now, but where Floyd Commode lives.
Yes?
There used to be a great
Big
big house in there and 2 barns. And he'd be sitting there with a big chew of tobacco in and sat there for how long? Like, you know, Bob Boy had old coal burning stove. He hauled the apple off, he spit that and put a bucket of tobacco. Then he'd get argued. So he got too much spit in his mouth, he'd have to shut up. And old Billy Titus, he was quite religious. You know,
He's the one that owned the store.
Huh?
He's the one that owned the
Yeah,
store?
yeah. That building right alongside Freeme's there,
Yes?
that was the store. He had an ice cream parlor on the side of it there too.
Who ran the ice cream parlor?
Well, different ones. Both the most the one that used to attend it was a Dakin girl, Reba was her name, Willie Dakin's sister,
Yes?
older than Willie, the oldest girl I think in that family. She used to run it a lot until she got married. And Etta, the Alvy's sister, and them, they got big enough. They tended it. We used to call it the Blue Room.
The Blue Room.
Yeah, he painted color blue, you know. Old Billy would get somebody out there preaching to him, quote the Bible. He used to call it the Blue Room.
So you would go to get ice cream.
Huh?
So when you went to get ice cream in the Blue Room, somebody would be preaching at you.
No, he didn't bother preaching while he was doing business.
No, might hurt business.
He's alive. He's only short, but like Alfie, but he has a great big belly.
That wasn't the only store in Centerville?
No,
There was-
there were, you go into Billy, or Henry Graves?
Yes?
That Shaw had it. But there used to be a great big store there. It had 2 stories, an ice cream parlor upstairs, and there's steps going up the side. Yeah, see you, Harold, or,
Terry.
yeah. And the girls used to have girls run that. And you'd get up there, getting up and down them steps, and somebody would push somebody go in over it. That's where I hurt my leg.
Yes?
They come out after us, I jumped over the rail and was going to slide down, I slipped, I went down, foot landed right on top of a big tire and just rolled it like that. And who was it, Dave Titus? Got my foot and hauled it back and twisted it back to its place. Used to be an old fella in back, old Archie Weir, an old bachelor. He always used to land there. He used to play poker quite a lot. Different things.
Used to land at the Shaw store?
Hmm?
At the Shaw store?
No, in back of it.
Okay, in back of it.
It was on the property where Lyndon Raymond lives,
Yeah.
right against the fence. Used to have a building there. An old feller used to go in there. And there used to be after that, they closed that one up in Charlie Morton's store. Cassie was her name, Morehouse. He run the store for Morton's a long, long while.
What was her name?
Cassie Morehouse.
Cassie?
Cassie.
Yep.
And she built one right on the end of the house where Lyndon Paul's wood there.
Yep.
And Allison after there had a girlfriend. She used to run it until her and Allison broke up. And then, you know where Dorothy Raymond lives?
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was her ice cream parlor.
Another ice cream parlor.
Yeah. And Allison moved to Freeport. I dare say you might have. Is he there when you moved there?
What's Allison's last name?
Morehouse.
Morehouse. Boy,
He worked on the hydro.
Right. I don't think so, Elwood. I've only been there like in the past 10 years. But I've been living there full time since '96, so that's only 4 years since I've really started to get to know
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Well, he could have been gone. He ain't been dead that long.
No. No.
He lived where you turned down to Pleasant Point there.
Beautiful Cove?
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Oh,
He lived right there somewhere.
okay. I should know him.
And I almost believe he's got a son down there.
Well, there's Peter Morehouse is there.
Well,
He
I
works
think
on the ferry.
that-
They're from East Ferry originally, though. I think Peter Morehouse grew up in East Ferry.
that could be. I know who you mean.
Do you? Yeah.
His father used to run the mail.
Oh, yeah. Guy. The.
Guy would be his grandfather.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
His boy, what the devil is his name? I knew him. I used to live going East Ferry, coming down. You go over.
Across the meadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to live over in there.
It'll come to you. Softening of the brain.
No.
Yeah.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
You'll say you used to say it's on the end of your tongue, but you
Yeah.
can't spit it out.
Right. All right, I have a good memory, but it's short.
Yeah. I know who you mean.
Yeah.
He used to run that boys' place there in Sandy Cove for a while.
Oh,
The camp? Yeah.
okay.
After some Elliot had it one time, and he took over. Somehow they got mixed up in the finances. And
Right.
the fellow lives in Jago's house down there, owns it now.
Yep. Yeah. That's Peter Morehouse. Yep.
He's always walking. When he walks, he's got
Yeah.
quite a swing.
Yeah.
Paul was his father's name.
Oh, okay.
Paul Morehouse.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's quite a boozer. Well, it killed him in the end after a
Oh.
while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really the cause of it.
Yeah.
But Guy Morris, I remember him. I remember one time, it was a big snowstorm. He had a big bus,
Right.
and he always had a snowplow on it. And Guy Odo's down here had appendicitis. Just right in that storm. Well, they got a old guy, come up, the whole crowd here. I was with him. We had a shovel in, he got stuck. And called ahead, well, over the Westgits over here. They met us when we got up there. Well, when we got up by there, through the seawall, where Wayne Andrews lives,
Yes.
you know where he
Yeah.
lives. Well, that's the Hutchins used to live there. His name was Maynard. He was boss on the road. He met us with a bunch of fellas. Well, then we had a whole busload of shovelers. And she gets stuck, we shoveled him out. And he, well, boy, I don't wonder he hadn't ruined that bus to get Digby.
And you
Guy
had
was,
this
Guy
you
was
had guy
there.
aboard with appendicitis.
Yeah. And he get them pains, you know. Boy, oh, boy. Well, it was dark when they got Digby.
All right.
Well, we got him there. All day getting up there. The northeast blizzard.
Yeah.
He probably could have died.
Yes.
Oh, he could have, yeah. We just got him there, and that was all.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good thing it wasn't any longer.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was Billy Titus's store, then there was this
Morton.
other store, Morton's. Okay,
Yeah.
Daniel Morton was the father of,
Elwood was his father,
Okay.
Dan's father.
but the older Daniel. Is there,
Older
old
than would
Daniel?
be his great grandfather,
okay, and who were his children?
Charlie Morton.
Yeah,
And Charlie Morton had a brother who went to the States. He worked for, I don't know just what his name was, but he worked for a big fur company up north. He used to come down here every once in a while. And that's about all I know. They could have been girls or something I never ever knew. But I worked for old Charlie there for a while, tending his cattle. He had a big barn up back of Richard Walker's. Used to be a big barn there.
yeah.
75 cents a week.
See,
Milking cows, taking them to pasture and taking them back home. 75 cents a week.
Amazing.
Well, I worked out the shore for 15 cents an hour in the fish. That's when I wasn't fishing, I'd worked in the fish too. And right across the road from, nobody living in it now, Elwood Titus' old house down there. Used to be a great big building there, right on the bank. We used to call it the old can house, after Dorsey's owned it. They bought fish there, and had a store in it, and different things. You could live in it too, upstairs. It was a hell of a big building. And after a while, they kind of went bankrupt or done something anyway. Different people bought it, or Bootler bought it. He used to keep cans in there, make cans and stuff. He used to can fish down here once. Canned herring and stuff. And
That would be Angus Bootler's father?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Well, I think his name was Angus.
Angus also?
No, wait a minute. Alfred.
Alfred Bootler, yeah.
Angus is named after his grandfather, Giddy.
Right. The politician.
Hmm?
The politician.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a member of Parliament down here in Halifax, or legislature, whatever. And Angus' mother was the politician's daughter. She was a Gidney girl. Alfred, Angus' brother, older than him. And he was in the army for a long time. He was a major general or something. And
That's Angus Gidney's brother.
Angus Bootler,
Angus Bootler's brother.
yeah.
What was
Yeah.
his name?
Alfred.
Okay.
His name was Alfred. He was way up in the army anyway. Because he was, when they went overseas, he was in England then. Alfred was. I know. A boy down the road about my age, he's a Dukeshire boy. Got in a little bit of trouble over in England. They brought him up in front of the commanding officer as Alfred Bootler. And they got talking about different things. He said, the Dukeshire boy, he says, you know, he says, how come you're getting in this trouble? It's something I don't know just what. That's when they were bombing in England then. Well, he said to Alfred, if you've seen as much stuff coming out of the sky, exploding around you, as I seen, you do most anything. It made Alfred mad. Alfred, you, what, a week in jail?
No sympathy for the hometown boy.
Yeah. But Alfred he never forgot it when they got back home, that Dukeshire boy, when he'd see him. Now, he'd tell him where he fit it.
Yeah, you'd think twice if you'd remember you had to come home someday.
Mm.
So Angus's father had a canning canning factory
Yeah,
down
that's
there?
where they tore that one down there.
Yeah.
Oh, that was big. 200 people worked there.
And you said something earlier about how that, after that failed, for,
All different people bought it.
yeah,
Then the Bloomberg Sea Products got all of it.
yeah,
They run it for years. An old fellow from Bloomberg, old Captain Wynot, he was a manager. Esther down here used to be a bookkeeper there.
yes,
Yeah, Esther Sproul.
Brawl, yeah,
And she worked there for quite a while. He used to board the Miss Bootlers, the old Captain Wynot, his name was. Huh. An old sea captain. He was on board a fishing vessel. Oh, wouldn't he snort? The old pipe, you know, he do smoke with a stab his feet. He'd laugh at it.
so it sounds like maybe that was the heyday in Centerville, when,
They from everywhere they worked down here. Way up around Annapolis and off the island.
Really?
They all worked down here in that factory.
people from
Can-
Grand Manan, did people from Grand Manan come over here, I think?
Well, not so much.
No.
Mostly people around here worked there, down on the island and everywhere. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a big cooker in there, and a big generator, had electric lights down there then, that way back.
Yeah.
We never seen nothing like that until they got that big generator run by a steam engine, you know. They flicker, but they're light.
Did they run this cannery around the clock, or just a daytime shift?
Just mostly daytime
Yeah.
shift, you know, mostly like that. Of course, I never ever thought about it. They worked 24 hours, but I don't believe they did.
No.
Back in them days, there's always somebody there at night, you know, kept looking out for the machinery, have it ready for the next day. Used to can tomato sauce and all stuff like that. Here.
Where did all the stuff come from? Where did the tomatoes come from? Locally?
Well, they used to fetch up St. John.
Yeah.
Right. The people who worked in the plant from the islands, would they stay here all week? or-
Yeah,
They would,
there's
eh?
board here,
Uh-huh.
different people.
Right.
They had buildings down there you could live in if you wanted to.
Right.
So camp and do your own cooking. But,
How many years did that last?
well, I really don't know. He got sick on the last end, old Mr. Bootler. I think he went bankrupt or something. So he built that house where Henry lived in, Bud.
Yeah.
He built that. And then Mrs. Bootler, afterwards, they bought that stone house over there. Old Colonel Gash got
Yeah.
there. They lived in that for years and years.
This was after Angus's father was dead?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Angus ain't been down the lake too long. 25, 30 years
Yeah.
maybe. Bought the place from Henry Kosovo.
Yeah.
It was I don't know, I suppose he just sold the house and let the land right there in front and then a little bit in back. And he kept up over the mountain. He kept, here a couple of years ago he sold it. It was easier to farm like
Like
down
the
the
way.
lake than it was up
Yeah.
there on that mountain.
Yeah. What became of Angus's brother?
Well, I don't know what happened to him, but he lived in Digby. Him and his wife's the one that started that Gabriel flower shop in Digby.
Okay.
And he lived for a while where Walker lives.
Audrey?
Not
Not
Audrey.
Audrey, no.
One below.
Philip.
Philip, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He had that whole field planted with apple trees
Yes.
and pear trees and stuff. And I don't know what happened to them, but they never grew. And somebody said that somebody cut them all down or done something. And, but they didn't seem to grow.
No.
If you get any rabbits around, an apple tree won't survive. They'll
Yeah.
chew the bark off them,
Right.
or the stump.
Yeah. Mice too,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
He lived there for quite a while. Her name was Gabriel.
Yep.
And I don't know what happened to her. She got sick, and I don't know if she cancer or just what. I don't know. But Angus, I think, had a heart attack. Or not Angus, but Alfred. Down in Florida, I believe. Now,
So he's no longer alive either?
oh, no, he's been dead quite a while.
Did Gabriel come from England or something like that?
She's an Irish girl.
She's an Irish girl.
Yeah.
Did he meet her overseas?
Yeah.
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 So she wasn't from here, but she came and lived here.
Yeah, she came over with him. He didn't have no children.
No? And neither did Angus.
No. So Angus, I don't know, he's down there all alone. I don't know who's with him.
Yeah.
Whether his last wife's boy, I think, is down there quite a lot.
Yeah.
It is right over
Yeah.
here. Little devil's his name.
Louis.
Louis, yeah. He used to work in Digby there for quite a while in the garage there.
Yeah.
Right across from Simpson Sears there.
Yep. And also at the Conway workshop
Yeah.
for a while. I don't know if he's still there or not.
I'd say we've
Yeah.
got about 5 minutes of tape left.
Okay.
You want to,
I got a couple more things I
Sure.
want to touch on.
yeah.
Speaking of Gabriel, reminds me for some reason of the wreck of the Robert Can. Can you remember anything about the wreck of that boat at Riley's Cove? Or any other shipwrecks?
Yeah, can boat, yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of it? Was it the Robert Can or something else?
There was 3 or 4 of them named. There was a Keith Can, there was a Robert Can,
And a Matthew Can, maybe?
and it was an old boat. There was 2 3 fellows. There were 2 captains in Westport drowned it. And old Captain Ells was the captain on her. I don't know how many people he drowned it. I don't know, wonder they hadn't hung him. He was from up in, around, way up the head of the Bay of Fundy somewhere. And it was a big, cold blizzard that night. And they really didn't want him to leave Grand Manan. I think that's where he was when he left. And they had Captain Peters in Westport and some other fellow there. He just got out of the hospital. Had pneumonia or something. He's on his way home. Well, anyway, somewhere off Grand Manan in a big westerly, cold, very bitter cold, she sprung a plank or something. But I don't know how they lived in that, got over here in that blow, living gale of wind. And I always said I didn't believe she sunk there myself. Because there is wrecks out here we never knew about. We got fish dragging, we fished up in them. But anyway, they landed there. There was 7 or 8, 5 or 6 men and a woman, cook. And Captain Peters, he was sick. He gave the woman his coat. She didn't coat. She had nothing on much, just working in the forecastle, in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And Anyway, he found a wood road. There. He left, followed that, and he come out to Audrey Walker's house. And then they got around, got people down there. Robert Hoobley used to live over here, took his cattle, and went back. And the crowd from here went down. They was all dead, but one fellow. And the Mounties got there, they found him up in the rocks, trying to find his way home. And I don't know whether it's right or not. He was cold and everything, and one of the Mounties, Acker is his name, I give him a great big drink of whiskey. Thought it would warm him, do something, but he never survived. They said he should have never done that.
Oh,
Giving him the whiskey.
Really.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was so bad that he... Anyway, they hauled him out in the ox cart out there at Audrey's. A woman and one big color fella. Beecher Pine lived there. He was running around he was in the rockweed, stepped on him.
Oh.
When he did, he's dead, but Beecher said, I didn't have much hair, but what I had stood right straight in the air. Anyway, they got them all out. Went back the next day and made sure. That's when they found the other fellow the next morning. Well, it was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when they come ashore there. And Carl Dimmick made a big plaque with all their names on it and a big cross. He put it there, but he didn't have it far enough back in. Got a big gale window, these washed out. Well, they got it again and put it up again. Back, but it went somewhere, I don't know.
There's still a cross there now.
Is it still
But
there?
it's just a crude 2 big sticks, like driftwood.
Yeah, looked horrible
Sticks.
before. But there used to be a plaque on it with all their names
Their names, yeah.
It was on that boat.
Too bad, eh? I wonder
But
where
I
it
don't
is.
know whether somebody got it, never said nothing about it, or what. Because fishing out off there, you could look in, you could see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Riley Cho, he used to be an old fellow there. His name was Riley. I don't think he might have been married, maybe what, he had a cabin there, Riley's Cove. And they say there was a ship come ashore there once, on the point, with gold aboard her in kegs, white lead.
What's white lead?
It's what you mix paint with.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff's in paint.
Yep.
In the keeler. Now, I don't know whether it's right or not. Anyway, she smashed and everything. And different ones said, Len Hoobie said there's a rock there. It's got a big place in it, so deep. And there's like a cave under it. And he said he got a gold coin out of that hole in that rock, down in. Now, I don't know.
Wow.
Anyway, there was people come here after he died. The house where below Philip had burnt, he
Yep.
was up in there. The Thompsons
Thompson's, yeah.
lived there. And they come, they stayed there, and they go back to Raleigh's Cove. They was down there for a week or 2.
Looking for gold.
Well, I don't know what they're looking for. All at once, they packed up and left.
Oh.
And they figured they found something. But people has hunted. Divers has been there. Of course, if the cage broke up, that would be mixed up in the rocks. You would, They figured that some of that come ashore, and that old Riley got it. And somehow they knew about it. The people from over in New Brunswick, St. John over there somewhere. Anyway, they left. They didn't come back. They left with stuff they didn't have when they come here.
treasure.
What about some of the other coves? How did they get their names? I never knew that's why Riley's Cove was called Riley's Cove.
Yeah.
There's,
The old Maid's Cove.
what's the Old Maid's Cove? Don't know that one.
Well, there's a Tar Cove.
Yeah, I know
where
that
the
one.
Steamer comes ashore. And old Leafy Smith and our brother lived there. I don't know whether there's anything left of the old camp that was there or not.
Does
You
that
go-
kind of be behind Arthur Bull's?
You,
Or
yeah,
further up?
so that road crossing Jimmy Gidney, you go
Yeah.
by. You come right out to Raleigh's Cove, or Tar Cove.
Yeah.
And just up in from the shore, there used to be a camp there, like, that's where Benny and Leafy lived, and that,
So Ben was her brother, not her
Yeah.
husband.
brother, yeah. And somebody's got a picture of it around so. Just who it is, I don't know. I seen it, I had it here looking at it.
Why did they choose to live way back there?
Hmm?
Why did they live way back there? On the shore.
Just squatters, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was,
What was the picture of?
huh?
What was the picture of?
Of Leafy Smith and Benny,
Yeah.
her brother, standing in the doorway,
Oh,
and a bunch of women there, from either, some from here, and some was from Sandy Cove.
right.
But they was awful superstitious people.
Oh,
If they seen you before you seen them, you didn't see them. No way.
They just disappeared.
No. Same way he'd go to Sandy Cove, old Ben, shopping. If he seen somebody coming and they didn't see him, they never seen him. He just. And Leafy, if she come out, well, she come out right there to Jimmy Gidney's across the road there.
Yeah.
And if any tracks in the road going back, she wouldn't. She got back in there, seen them tracks. She wouldn't go over them.
Oh.
She'd come way out the road, and she'd go on the other side and go back. Yeah, she wouldn't cross nobody's path
oh.
if she figured somebody was in there ahead of her.
What made them so superstitious, do you suppose?
Well, years ago, all the old people was different things. She, like that, anything like that, she wouldn't. Oh boy.
Was your mother superstitious?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know.
I know they claim there's something buried or something. That brook that runs across the road there by Sidney Gidney's and Mr. Taylor's.
Yeah?
Down in that brook, they claim there's something buried there, and they buried a big dog on top of it.
Oh.
Nobody's ever found it. But the different people, my mother's claim she seen that dog walking down the road.
Oh,
And the other people seen it.
yeah.
Now,
After it was buried.
oh yeah,
supposedly.
oh,
Very
that
cool.
could have been buried 100 years before that,
Ah,
whatever was down in there. And nobody's ever found it. Whatever it was. Down the old road, there's a place, well, where David Graham there, his house.
Yeah.
Over on the old road, there's a place down in there they call Bloody Hill.
Bloody Hill?
Yeah. And they claim a Jew come out and he met a fellow who was an Arab. And they got in they got in a fight. And they said he killed the other or something there on that road. Going down that old road below David's, there used to be an apple tree right there that they called a little hill. And they claim that's where it was. Now, God knows what happened back in them days.
yeah.
So, I know Charlie Graham, where Saul's house is, that old house down there.
Yeah.
the old house. They used to come stay there. Old Brichet or something, his name was, he was Jew. And there used to be another fellow come there, old Miller. He used to have wagons and a cart full of clothes, closed in. If one was to the house, and one go there, one would be in the room, one would be in the kitchen. If they went to the barn, the other fellow wouldn't go. Till he'd come back, he'd go tend his horse. A Jew and an Arab, they never get along. They used to, and old Ben Robbins, he used to live, he built that house where Alfie lived.
Yeah.
And he built the one on the corner that burnt, the old cellars there. He built that for a hotel. Sold that one down the road. It had 3 floors in it. I don't know whether he kept many people there or not, I couldn't say, but
That's on the other side of the road.
yeah.
Like when you're starting to go over to Leonard's.
Yeah. The garage is there, and
Yeah.
right across the road there's a cellar there.
Yep.
Well, that's where it was. It got burnt there. It was the one Halloween a few years ago. I don't know for sure who done it. No, I don't know. Anyway, burnt. Thought it was a big house,
Yeah.
3 stories.
We're just about to run out of tape. But you
Okay.
know what? I think I'd love to come back if Stella would let us another time. Take up another 2 hours.
But that's the way it used to be anyway. Old Donnie,